All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Professional Volunteer Podcast. And today I have not one, but two co-hosts with me. So I've got John. Everybody remembers John. Hello, hello. And I got Kara on today. So what's up, Kara?
Hi.
How are you guys doing on this beautiful 4th of July weekend?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice.
God bless America.
It's nice because we've got a New York, New Jersey episode here, so I can actually say that the weather has been beautiful, and it, kind of holds true for everybody on the episode. So we are here tonight. We have a topic suggestion, and we were just kind of bullshitting a little bit before I hit the record button, and I think it's a topic that we have definitely talked about probably once or twice in previous episodes, but we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper than we have in the past. And Kara wasn't in the past conversations, so she'll bring some fresh outlook to the topic. And here it is. So sent in by request. Okay, how do you get the fire department motivated when the leadership lacks motivation and leadership? So not only do they lack motivation, but they lack leadership. And this request was sent in anonymously. I had to do a double secret finger twist that I would not tell where it came from, but whatever the hell that means. I just made that up. But
Finger twist.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dramatics.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to dive into that. So fire department motivation. How do we get the fire department motivated when the leadership lacks said motivation? Who wants to go first? I'm going to let Kara go first because John's going to be like, we've already hit this topic like 3 times. I know it. So we're going to let Kara start today. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think it's any kind of easy, straightforward answer. And I think it can be very varied depending on the kind of way that your department is structured. I've talked before on other topics about when we talk about like retention, or when we talk about fitness and wellness in the fire service and things like that. Individualizing the experience is one key thing that's really important. You have to really find out why your members are coming to you, in the volunteer world. Why are they there? What drives them? What's their purpose of being there? And the more that you can tap into what people's individual interests are and reason for being there, the more that the motivation can kind of catch on. Because if you get a couple people that are excited about being there beyond the first, night that they put on their gear that's issued to them and they're taking selfies in the bay before they even know how to put their gear on.
TikToks.
No,
After you get past that, why do they want to be there? What's there for them? So, I think, first of all, trying to get a gauge of why your members are there and what is keeping them there and keeping them coming back. Some people love training. They love to learn new skills. They love to do the physical stuff. Some people really are very community oriented, and they really want to be a part of making a difference in their communities. Some people, it's the camaraderie, or it's kind of like a social thing for them too. They like the family and the brotherhood aspect of it. So there's lots of different reasons why people are there, and all of those together can motivate the department as a whole.
I agree. I think that you can mesh a lot of the different topics that we've talked about in previous episodes to address this lack of motivation thing in the leadership, right? Look, let's face it. Some people are just not good leaders. And part of the problem in the volunteer service is a lot of times we lack the ability to either make those bad leaders better and more motivated, or to get rid of them. Right. So, and unfortunately, if that can affect the entire organization, right?
Sure.
Because if you have a lazy chief that just doesn't give a shit and just doesn't really care about the morale, doesn't care about the direction of the organization, you know, you got to make a choice. You got to either get them out of that role or figure out a way to address it. And I think, you know, the way to address it can be a difficult road sometimes, but it's very rare that you see an entire organization in that same mindset.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, John? You very rarely do you see an entire organization that's in that. You know, there's normally people somewhere that are like, you know what, our morale sucks.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out like how to get. So I think that was great with what she said, and I agree 100%. And what you just said was that there's still people there. So like, you got to take those. You know, the chances of having all of the leaders in one organization suck is pretty. You know what I mean? Not
pretty slim.
Yeah. So
if all the leaders suck, chances are then probably the entire organization.
Yeah, the whole place.
You're not going to have any success.
Yeah, they don't know they suck then.
Right.
Right.
So you got one guy, right, who can take that. So like if you're just going and doing like monotonous drills, like, oh, we're going to set up the rehab tent tonight.
Yeah.
You know, that's our drill. Or we're going to run the saws. Then the aggressive guy, the captain, the lieutenant, whoever, the senior guy, take the other guys and do a real hands-on drill, do a forcible. Hey, listen, this is a half-hour forcible entry. You guys want to come? Great. You don't want to come? Do your thing over there. But we're going to be over here, you know? And then you slowly get people, like you said, to buy into that program, to buy into that. See, you know, why are you really there? Like, okay, now this gives me a purpose on your drill nights to go to the firehouse and be like, all right, we're really getting something done, instead of the people who are like, all right, you know, where's my credit? Sign the sheet. We're out of here.
Right,
you know,
right.
So
yeah,
I think you got to be, and listen, we're talking about the biggest problem in the volunteer fire service, the shitty chiefs, right? So they cycle through. They have 1 year. We got to put them in because they did their time. They're good guys. He does the turkey bake every year. You know, he's a good guy. And now he's a fire chief, right?
Right.
So like that's the biggest problem in the volunteer fire service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do we get around that? Like you said, there's a million different avenues we could go down to discuss that.
Right. Right. And the first avenue is having the balls to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
We talked about that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Having the balls to have that conversation instead of everybody having their little sidebars in different parts of the station, essentially having the same conversation about how bad somebody is.
Right.
Right. Getting together and actually having that conversation in public, or maybe even grabbing this individual ahead of time and taking them to the side and being like, yo, we need to talk.
I'll throw this one at you, Chief. What if that person writing in, and it's anonymous, is a nobody in the firehouse? And I use that term not insultingly.
Right.
I mean, somebody who you can't have that conversation. You know, maybe they're a 21, 22-year-old member who's like full of piss and vinegar. They want to learn everything. And their chief's like, all right, you know, wash the trucks tonight. And then we're getting pizza. Right?
Right.
That happens.
Oh, sure.
It does.
All over the place.
Oh, it for sure does.
And so maybe this 21-year-old, 3-4 year member can't talk about that.
Right.
Because he's not in that position to. So what does he do?
Right.
You know, what does he do? So now I'll give you where I was trying to go before was like, you need to get that guy, and kind of like what you said, like, why is he really there?
Right.
You need to get that kid to buy into your program, right? Whether it be a senior man, a captain, a lieutenant, or whatever. Like and that's why it's so important. Like when you get off the truck, you get off the truck with your pack, your tools, you're ready to go. You teach him something. You do the daily monotonous tasks every day, and he's going to buy into that.
Sure.
Right. And then you maybe get one more guy to buy into that. And then can you change the chief? No, and that's what I've had this conversation with you on here 50 times was maybe you can't overthrow the chief. Right.
Right.
You just got to deal with it and keep your head down and keep pushing forward.
Right.
You know? I get angry. Angry sometimes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Well,
Cut me off when I'm.
the problem is that sometimes that, and this is the juggle here. This is the part that needs to be juggled, right? Is how do we not let it get so bad and start to affect so many other people in the organization, where you see that the entire culture of the agency, including the people that care, start to go downhill. You know what I mean? When it gets to the point that even the people that are trying to do it the right way, trying to make those changes, trying to stay positive, are like throwing their hands up going, you know what? I can't do this anymore. This guy's an idiot. He doesn't, you see where I'm going? That's
It happens.
where the balance, is,
Yeah.
and
So
that's,
we talked before about, yeah, we're volunteer organization, but you have to have that level of professionalism within your volunteer organization and treat it like it's any other employment kind of scenario. I mean, we have to, at least in New York State, we have to follow many of the same rules that state employees have to follow as volunteer firemen.
Mhm.
So having that mindset from the get-go can carry over and really needs to. So if you have a performance issue with someone, then that needs to be addressed. But to John's point, when you have younger people coming in or newer people that are excited and want to carry that through, and that's what you want permeating your organization. I mean, listen, nothing kills a good employee faster than tolerating a bad one. That is a killer right there.
That's a t-shirt. That's a
That was
t-shirt
gold.
right there.
Gold.
Woo! Hold on, that's the highlight. I'm gonna mark the timestamp on that one. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Anyway,
Say it again. Did you steal that from somebody? Or did you make that up?
I don't think that I made it up. I think that I think it's pretty universal, but
That's fantastic.
yeah, it is very true. But I think to John's point too, having them know what their role is and staying within their role and keeping that enthusiasm there is very beneficial. So if you are teaching them, like, doing even if you have a regular drill night that's like a dud or whatever, and you've got a lieutenant or a senior man or somebody that is available that says, hey, put out a message on your messaging system and says, hey, anybody that wants to come down tonight, we're just going to do donning and doffing. It's going to be like half an hour. Newer guys, if you want to come on, we're going to just practice some speed drills, getting our gear on, getting it on correctly, and getting on the rig. And just little things like that they can do that's a short drill that means something to them for the newer members and get that little group going. That can be huge in terms of motivating. And I think knowing what their role is and being able to operate successfully within that role is immensely helpful.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other thing is, I think that some of the senior people don't realize is, don't get your newer, younger members that are, initially motivated to do the job, tied up in your bullshit dramatic politics. You know what I mean? There's no reason to pull them into that crap when they're like a 2-month member, right? Because first of all, you're either going to scare them away, or they're going to be like, what the hell did I get involved with here? I thought I joined to like actually fight fire, not to argue over stupid shit, but some people get so ingrained in that negative mindset sometimes that it's like secondhand to complain about stuff.
They live in it.
Yeah, they just live in the negative, So
and then when they're doing that, you're teaching them that that's your culture in your department.
Right, exactly. So as senior members, we need to do a better job of thinking about the conversations that we're having with these newer people and the things that they really don't need to, they're going to learn fast enough. You don't need to involve them in this stuff that could change their mindset. And if you really want to do the job of changing the culture of the organization and improving the morale, Well, who's the future of the organization?
Right.
Right? The newer, younger members. That's the future of the organization. So don't teach them all the old garbage like right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I'll tell you what, I got something for you. Is it's very easy to fall into that like crack of allowing like these monotonous things to overcome you. So what I mean by that is like you said, the negativity at the firehouse or like these bad things. It's very easy to fall into that and be like, oh my God, you're going to another call, another drill, like such a waste, and then you get to the drill, you don't have your gear on maybe, or you're like, you're like lollygagging around. So, or you get off the truck with no gear on because the other guy does it. So like, it's really easy to fall into that trap.
Right.
And whoever's listening to this podcast, it is, I would think, an aggressive firefighter, good hard charger, right?
Yeah.
So if they're taking the time to listen to that, they're probably doing the right thing. So I would caution you to be careful. And that's why I always say, like, just keep your head down and do your thing.
Yep.
Set the example, regardless of who you are.
It took me, and listen, I struggle with it, and Brian and I talked about it. My wife has helped me. Like, I struggled in the beginning with like Instagram world and like, why am I not getting the classes, and why am I not getting this? Like, and that was always what I just kept telling myself, like, just put your head down and do your thing.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Right. And that's why, like, I had to change firehouses. Nothing against this firehouse. It's just it's different than when I was chief.
Mm-hmm.
Put my head down, I got some, we got people on my team, not my team, but like hard charger team.
Yeah.
And we just do our thing. Like, hey, we're going to do this tonight. You guys do whatever you want over there.
Right.
Yep.
We're doing our thing over here.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So it's like, it's not just the fire world, you're talking careers, businesses. You can't be worried about like what these negative people are doing.
Right.
It's going to just bring you down.
Right. And look, going back to the topic, if you've got somebody at the top that lacks what you're looking for, or lacks where you think your organization should be, you got to kind of go back to what you said before, John. Is all right. We're in the volunteer world. That means that a year from now, we could make a change. Right. We could make a change. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do for the next 12 months? Are we going to bitch about it, or are we going to do our best to make the organization the best that it can be, regardless of who is holding that top seat?
You're going to get off the truck with your pack on. You're going to put your hood on every call, because that's what we do, is put our hood on before our coat so we don't get caught off guard.
Right.
And I use that example because guys used to bust my balls. Like, what, you're putting your hood on, it's just an alarm, or it's a CO alarm. No, every time.
Right. Well, because it's about setting the example.
Bingo.
Right. And Kara and I have talked about this. You and I have talked about this. And this is the thing that, I try and tell my guys all the time. Look, if I've been out on a run for 6 hours, 8 hours all night long, like we were a couple times last week, sure, I want to go home when the call is over. Like, I want nothing more than to jump in my truck and drive straight from the incident to my house. Right. But why don't I do that? Why do I go back to the station?
Right.
Because I'm expecting everybody else to go back to the station. I'm expecting them to get all this equipment back in service like it needs to be for the next run. Right. So, you got guys that'll like jump in their vehicles and be like, oh, I'm tired, I'm going home. I'm like, yeah, I'm tired too. What the hell? But it's about setting the example, because when you get back to the station and they see you standing there rolling hose or deconning the trucks or whatever the hell it is that you're doing, they're like, oh shit, oh look, the lieutenant's here doing it. I guess I better get to work.
The fire service is as a whole is a culture of work. Yes. We are workers. Right. We are a culture of work. And if you are displaying anything other than a culture of work to anybody around you that's trying to do that, you are part of the problem, in my opinion. And you can show up and make sure that your name's on the run sheet and whatever, but that's not doing work, So if more people are doing the work and that's seen, and that can spread just as easily as negativity. The positive stuff can spread just as easily as the negative stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got to have some people doing the positive stuff. You know,
I think that what you just said, that saying was like unbelievable. Wait, so what did you say it again? Just say it one more time.
Well, we are a culture of workers. We do work.
No.
The other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that nothing kills a good employee faster than tolerating a bad one.
Gold.
Yeah.
Gold. Because I used to say what I heard it from somebody else. I didn't make it up. Was
yeah, I'm sure I heard that somewhere.
what you condone, you own.
Yep.
So I forget who said that, but I mean, that is the ultimate of the volunteer fire department, right? You get a chief in there, he's buddies with somebody, and this guy can do whatever he wants because he's the chief's boy, right? And then you get other people who trying to do the right thing, and it just breaks you down. It really does.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, comes from this conversation is, what do you do about that? How do you not let it break you down? Because you can't change the top. Because when I was chief for 8 years. I used to say, listen, you got 3 options. And I think I said it on the show the first time I was ever on the show.
Yep.
Run against me next year, get on board, or go somewhere else. These are your options. Those are the legitimate options. I'm not being an asshole. Those are the options. So, what do you do? What do? You don't want to change firehouses. Maybe you'll run against them. Maybe you're not ready yet, whatever the case may be. But what do you do in the meantime? And I think, we both hit it on the head. All 3 of us is.
Well, and there are options. The thing is not to get sucked into the negativity world, right? To realize that you need to do your best, whatever your role is, whether you're a fellow officer, black hat firefighter, senior man, whatever the hell it is, you need to do your best to keep the morale going in a positive direction. Even if you need to continue to rally the troops and keep doing the right thing and just keep, like you say, keep your head down and keep going. We could be a lot worse off, right? We just did an episode a couple weeks ago talking about the guys out in Ohio that it was the same chief for 20 something years, right, John?
Yeah.
I mean, and the only way to change the chiefs was to get the town board to change the chiefs.
They had no control over it.
Yeah. So, put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
What the hell you do then?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's really important to note too, is that you can't control how other people behave. You can only control how you behave.
Right.
And I'm a brand new lieutenant. I'm brand new, and I already get some feedback and some flack about things that people don't like and stuff like that. Because they come to you seeking, help. But I try to get to the root of what the issue actually is. Is it an issue of complainers going to complain? It's like haters going to hate. Do I have somebody that just complaining is just their mojo and that's how they express themselves? And, they're not really looking for a answer or a way to improve. They're just looking to complain.
And you're a new set of ears. So they feel.
And I'm a fresh set of ears, so they're going to come to me, even though they've already talked to everybody else. Yep. But having the awareness of recognizing that is really important for officers, because that's still valid. They still need to be heard. And so that's part of your role, that's part of what you're doing. So is that what they need? Do they just need you to listen to them and feel like they're heard and not just blown off or told, don't talk to me about this or whatever? And when you think about the senior man is the senior man because maybe they don't want a leadership position, an official title. I mean, a title doesn't make you a leader, So if you have a senior man, and as an officer, even if you're, starting right from the bottom, you're not the chief yet, tapping into those people in your department to take on other people. And, we've talked, Brian, before about mentorship, and assigning a mentor to the younger people that is interested in helping them build skills and helping them be successful. That again permeates that positivity rather than, you kind of cut the negativity off at the pass when you do that. Because you're like, hey, here's somebody that's like you. They're interested in pump ops. They're interested in being an interior attack. They're interested in EMS side.
Mhm.
So here's a person for you that you additionally have to work with and go to help you feel successful within our organization. And that's, I think, really important for the newer officers to take on that role too, because you can kind of just cut it off right there.
Right.
For a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to deal with it, and you know, look, I think I've been there at times. I don't want to make light of the topic because I think it keeps coming up for a reason, because it is a common problem in the volunteer fire service. And I know that, you know, when morale gets bad, that it can be very, very difficult to stay engaged, especially if you're somebody that's dedicated and a hard charger and somebody who wants to do the right thing. You know, it can be very, very difficult to stay engaged and to keep trying to push that organization forward. But I think it's rare that you're by yourself.
Right.
And I think that's the rarity, is that you're by yourself in that problem. Now, are other people willing to help you to address it? That's the $1 million question.
Right.
Because that's when the they comes in, you know. They don't like it. Well, who the hell are they? Well, you know.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone. Well, who's everyone?
I don't want to name names.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, right.
Right.
I don't want to name names. Like
that was always one of my favorite. That was like famous. You didn't hear this from me, but
right.
then don't tell me.
Right. Exactly. It's like my pet peeve when somebody comes over to me and says, "Hey, they're concerned about something." I'm like, "Well, who are they?" Well, I
don't want to say that.
I really don't want to say. I'm like, well, then don't tell me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not addressing a problem if I can't put a name to the face, you know, the name to the problem or face to the problem. I'm not doing it, you know, unless you're telling me like that all of a sudden, you know, the entire place is burning down and everybody's leaving. What are we going to do here?
I mean, maybe with those helmets, they might be, though.
Hey, listen, we'll be so much faster though.
So much more aerodynamic.
Yeah, it's just like you just cut right through the air with those babies.
Kara cannot comment on this conversation because she wears a Metro. So.
Oh my God. Okay. First of all, that's just my lieutenant's helmet and it's temporary.
Oh, that doesn't matter. It's still a Metro.
I don't want to paint my leather. I'm so scared I'm going to ruin it.
You're not leather forever.
I am leather forever.
Listen,
I am.
It was hard for me. To go. I had my leathers hanging on the wall over there. Now my new department wears plastic.
Yes, I know. That's mine.
It's
I was
tough.
issued a turtle shell helmet, and not a fan,
I mean, I don't wear tactical Tupperware, but you know, I mean, I wear a plastic like New Yorker, but it's.
Yeah, mine's pretty bad, but it's only temporary. Stay tuned.
So it's not like the Russian helmet.
Listen, you're both just a couple of salty bastards, regardless of what you got.
Cosmonaut.
Do you have a white one that you wear?
Are you on Space Force with that? What's happening?
Yes. Space Force.
We're definitely on Space Force.
When you are standing behind your truck running command,
I wear my leather.
Why do you do that?
Why? Because I don't need to have all of that when I'm standing there, like doing. I wear it usually for interior attack. If I'm forward, I'll have that on. If I'm not forward, and I'm standing in my truck.
You didn't have it in that picture.
In which one?
The one on the roof.
I know. I don't even think I had it in my truck that night. But
wow, this sounds like a scam.
No.
Wait,
scam,
can I ask you?
Scam.
Can I ask you a real question off
Sure.
topic, and you can cut this out of the show if you want.
No, that's all right.
When you put those on, how does your SCBA mask fit underneath that?
Just like a regular helmet.
So you put your mask on, your hood on.
Yep.
And then the helmet goes over the whole contraption.
Yep.
And then it's like this, like tight on your face.
Yeah. Yep.
So isn't that uncomfortable?
No, not at all.
I've never put one on, so I can't. I just like to break your balls, but
Yeah, I've never put one
Listen,
on.
I'm going to come back. You guys continue this episode. Talk for 2 minutes. I literally have to call the 911 center because they just paged me out. But keep on going. I'm not stopping the rolling. It's on you. Go.
God, they're leaving the kids in charge of the candy store.
What pressure.
I know, right? So we have to talk about when the leadership isn't motivated.
Yeah, not tactical Tupperware.
Not tactical Tupperware and not Space Force one.
Listen, I think, and I said this to Brian, like when he brought it up, was like, dude, we've talked about this. You know, like we've. What more can you say? Keep your head down and do the right thing.
Yeah.
But I really like what you said about the, you know, what you allow goes on in the fire, brings other people down, and it is so hard to stay motivated when that's happening.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure, like being a new lieutenant, that's something that, you know, you got to be on your toes about. I remember when I became a new chief, I'm like, shit, I got to be like serious all the time, you know?
Yeah. And it's definitely a gut check for me. Like realizing that what really comes with that role, and it's not just the responsibility of, you know, being in the front seat and making decisions and assigning, you know, tasks to everybody and, you know, doing your size up and whatever you have to do. You know, more than that, it really is about being able to look at the department as a whole and be successful in managing your employees in that way. Because
it's like everyday life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just like even the regular stuff, you know, anything that anybody needs, you know, I'm the first line now. Oh my God. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, listen.
Nice to have you.
No, nobody can say anything about editing here because, well, I rarely edit. So I hand it over to you guys. And
were they pissed about the helmets?
No. All right. So wait, before we go any further, what did I have to answer here? I had to answer to something. Or did we?
No, I just wanted to know about like how this.
So we were talking about how you have no peripheral vision in your Space Force hat.
No, you have plenty of peripheral vision.
Oh,
So my only complaint. All right.
Wait, does it have ear holes?
Ear holes.
Yeah, like the old football helmets.
That's a technical term.
Does it really?
No, it doesn't.
So how do you hear the radio and stuff?
Is it in there? Is it an internal mic and radio?
You can get an internal mic, but it's not that. Man, it's not that tight.
That is full blown.
But my only complaint, honestly, about wearing the helmet is in the summertime, like in this heat, it is a lot warmer. Like on your
well, you got all this.
It is a lot warmer. So if I were to write a pro and con list, probably really my only thing on the con list would be the heat, because
you look like a Lego person.
It does get pretty hot, and that too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to walk around like that
anywhere.
It's terrible.
Let's get back on topic.
All right, sorry, back on.
I didn't bring you two on here to freaking roast me tonight.
You picked the wrong crew.
Yeah.
Brutal.
All right. So, do we have any final thoughts for the whole morale topic and the leadership topic? I think we've beat it up a lot. We've beat it up at a bunch of different times. Honestly, I think you could take a culmination of a bunch of different episodes that we've done, right? Whether it's recruitment and retention, we've talked about this head on directly a couple of times, a couple of the topics that Kara and I have talked about, a couple of topics that you and I have talked about, John, and even some of the stuff I did late last week, just regarding just like leadership lessons, right? I think they all kind of tie into this morale thing, right?
Yeah.
And again, most of the people that listen to the podcast and comment and provide feedback about the podcast are, like you said, people that are looking for.
They're not going to be duds. Yeah.
Right. They're not right. They're not going to be duds. And
right. So if they are, listening and if you're a person that is listening to podcasts and reading and educating yourself outside of the firehouse about the fire service, then you're already in a great position to demonstrate you know, the good stuff to the rest of your department.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
Right.
Right. And if you're somebody that's in a leadership position that maybe sees some morale issues within your organization, and you're watching this episode or watching or listening to this episode or listening to last week's episode and going, maybe I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I'm that guy that they're talking about, you know. Well, don't be, you know, learn how not to be that guy. Learn what your flaws are, learn what your mistakes are, you know.
Like if you're a low ranking officer, right, and your chief is a dud, nothing says you can't go to that chief and say, hey, you mind if I take a couple guys? I'm going to do this. Or what I used to do is just do it. And then be like, hey, I'm a lieutenant. I thought I could, you know?
Yeah. Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah. Just go do it. Nothing says you all have to go put up the rehab tent.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But we're gonna go force some doors tonight. That's it.
Do you keep picking on the rehab tent because you know Kara was a former rescue captain? Is that why you you keep picking on the rehab tent?
You can't even pick on me about that because our agency doesn't even do that. Like the ambulance comes and does that for us.
No, I use that comment because that really happened to me one day. I was out doing training for a company, and it was a drill night, and we were contracted to do drill night programs with them, and we were supposed to do like maybe 2.5s or something. Mm-hmm. And we had like 3 guys, and the other 12 ordered food and practiced setting up the rehab tent. And I was like, what are they doing over there? And he's like, oh, they're setting up the rehab tent. And I was like, okay, good.
Good. Great job.
Good stuff.
You kept it positive.
Yeah, when Mrs. McGillicuddy's hanging out of her 2nd floor window, that fucking rehab tent's gonna be up. You can guarantee that.
I'll be right there. I'm ordering the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
that's all I got for you tonight.
That's all, Kara. You got any parting comments on the topic?
Probably. I'm just gonna keep them in my head for next time. Save them up.
Save them up.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We got a couple more minutes. Open floor.
Tell us more about the helmet.
No, we're not talking anymore about the helmet. He breaks my balls about the helmet every single time we get on.
This is all I have to say. This is all I have to say is keep your head down and just keep doing the right thing, right? Like if you're a hard charger and you believe in it and you're there for the right reasons, just keep your mouth shut and keep pushing forward. Eventually things will work out. And nothing says you can't go up there and do whatever you want to do when you're, when on your free time. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably one of those people, who's a hard charger and you want to learn. And like we all said here on this is you're doing the right thing. Just keep pushing forward. That's like the main thing I could get across to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole of like, fuck that.
Right. Yeah. You can really have 2 choices. You can know why you're there, know why you joined, know what you want to do, and focus on that goal and stick with that and seek out like-minded people because they're there in your organization. Be that person that seeks out the other people that are like that. And then all of you succeed together to make the organization better just by doing your individual work. That's how you do it. That's all you have to do. It's not anything hard or complex. You don't have to change the entire organization because that can be really difficult. There's years of history. There's, some departments, there's families that have run the department for, years and years and years. And, and you're not likely to break into that and change it right away. And maybe it doesn't even really need to be changed if everybody is doing a good job, having a good attitude and doing the work. The rest of it doesn't matter. We're there for a purpose. We're there to help and serve the community. And that's what you have to come back to. You come back to that one thing that brought you in the door and you stick with that and you let that drive you forward.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. All right. John, how's your class going? You full?
My extrication. Well, I added 3 more spots because I filled up in like a week.
That's good.
Yeah, so if you want to get on board, JerseyShoreEmergencyTraining.com. Click on upcoming seminars. It's basic vehicle extrication. Surf City is sponsoring it. They're getting 10 cars, and we're going to cut some shit up. It's going to be great. I got instructors from, I got the special ops chief from Bayonne, a captain, a chief from all over. So it's going to be pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
excited about it.
3 spots left.
3 spots left.
There you go.
September 18th, 19th, and 20th. And Interschutz is still on, by the way. I just looked it up. They're
Good.
still going.
Hopefully it remains on.
Yeah.
Kara, what do you got going
that,
on?
Kara?
What's that?
Interschutz. It's in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's Brian was supposed to come, but he's not now.
I don't know yet. I'm still not 100% booked.
Oh.
I'm still waiting.
He's a solid maybe.
I literally I am a solid maybe.
Pencil me in when you can.
Yeah, I'm a solid maybe. I'm waiting on the call.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a world-renowned conference. First time in the U.S. they're doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that actually. Yeah, and then I didn't know if it was going to be shut down or not because
they've been doing. They just posted a video like a couple days ago on Instagram that they're on board. They're doing it.
Nice.
You know if your state chief's training in Cazenovia has any open spots, or you have no idea?
I don't know if I haven't checked it recently. I don't know if they have open spots or not. I know we were filling up. I think people are really anxious to get back and do some larger scale training and stuff like that too. And it's a really amazing class. I took it in May, New York State Association for Fire Chiefs, fire behavior on the inside, and it's a great class. It's a very it's very aggressive search. They have some good heat. They have some great instructors. Really quality training. So we're excited that that's coming to our tower next weekend, and it should be a really good class. And it'll be good to get some people together.
Wow, next weekend.
Exciting.
We're already into July.
Yeah.
We're like into July already.
Yeah, we're well into July.
It's happening. All right, good stuff, guys. So final plugs. Check John out at Jersey Shore Emergency Training, and there's still a few spots open for his extrication in Surf City. Check Kara out at St. Florian Fitness.
Yeah.
And if you need some fitness training, programming, what else?
Yep, fitness and wellness seminars, and just any kind of related topics, health and wellness in the fire service, functional fitness training I provide also. And it's really super important. I just have to always say this every time that I come on. It's the goal of St. Florian Fitness, and the mission of St. Florian Fitness is to reduce line of duty deaths related to cardiac health. And so it's very important, and I want to make sure that everybody is staying healthy and staying safe in that regard.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it as always. Thanks for coming on. And I think we might have put this one to bed for a little while. We'll see. But
I tell you what we do need is you to bring your helmet on the next show.
You want me to do a show with my helmet on?
Wear the helmet the whole time.
The entire time?
Yeah.
Demo it.
I don't know if my things will go out far enough.
Oh, God.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All
Stay
right.
safe.
Thanks.
Till the
Bye.
next time. I appreciate you being on.
That's it.
Bye.